This playthrough is rated E10+.
Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with another action-packed episode of Part-3 Drive to Win. In the last episode, I drove. And I talked about Pixar and long tangents on how comedic side characters don't need to all be the genie from Aladdin. They can be different things. Although you gotta admit, at least in Frozen, despite how much I'm not... Although I was about to go on a tirade about Frozen. It's okay. The movie is okay. But at least the comedic side character is not like loud and obnoxious and, you know, and has some funny lines without being loud, which I don't mind loud characters. It's just, it seems like every comedic sidekick had to be the same, but with at least Olaf, at least he was different. You know, you gotta give it that. But anyway, let's keep racing and we'll talk about Pixar and stuff like that. Or at least I'll talk about it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Lightning is about to strike.
Alright, anyway. We got a race. But anyway, I never finished up my feelings on Cars 2. I think the reason I don't, like I said, I don't hate the movie. I think the movie's fine. It's just the change in, I guess, maybe setting or tone or who the main character was. And I didn't need every... Oh, hold on. Let's get the description.
Hey, you'll be glad you tuned in for this one, folks. Okay, I know I'm not alone when I say I've really been looking forward to this race. I mean, you just can't lose with a lineup like this. Now, here's somebody who doesn't have many races under the belt yet.
Are you talking about me? I guess I've only done a handful, but... I guess I just keep pressing turbo and just see what happens. Turbo, that's another movie I haven't seen. Although I wasn't interested in that one. I barely see any certain, like, oops, I keep drifting at the wrong point. I'll admit, I remember when I used to be younger, I used to watch every single, like, animated movie that came out, because I was one of those kids that was, like, I guess what's the word, maybe strangely fascinated with animated stuff, because it was, you know, it was this rare thing, you know, that, at least when I was growing up anyway, it wasn't common. It was just like, oh man, there's a cartoon on TV. I gotta watch it, man, because you know, who knows if we'll see anything like this again, that type of thing. So I watched. I think I've talked about this a long time ago. I would watch anything, like even stuff that wasn't designated for boys, like stuff that was like, oh, only girls watch this, that type of thing. Which, you know, some stuff probably was. I mean, when you think about it, but you know, I mean, the bad ones were. Oh, man. Into the drink I go, apparently. So, you know, I watched your Sailor Moon, although I don't know if I call that just for girls. I mean, is the idea of the show kind of geared towards more that you know, audience because of the main characters and all that? Sure. But I think anyone could like it. Me, I thought Sailor Moon was okay. I mean, especially the although I'm talking about the English translated version of the show that was chopped up quite a bit and put those, you know, I don't know if you all remember that or whoever's watching remembers Sailor Moon, when they would have at the end of each episode have a, you know, have a Sonic moment where it's like, don't talk to strangers or don't be mean to your friends or stuff like that. Yeah, it did that for a show that's supposed to be about, like, you know, girls transforming and fighting creatures or fighting evil people from the moon or whatever, you know. But yeah, it had stuff like that. So it was pretty comedic in its badness when you think about it. So obviously, I didn't watch the original Japanese intended version of the show, which is quite a bit different. But compared to the American, or at least the 90s version of the Americanized version of it, then yeah, it is a completely different experience. That's probably why I can't say the full feeling on it, because I watched the modified version of the show. But because I've heard of the Japanese version, there's a lot more adult-ish content, and, well, I wouldn't say adult, but more grown up. Maybe a grown up is the word I'd use. Maybe tow object. What? Why would I want to do that? Maybe to mess up with other drivers or something like that.
It's not looking very friendly out there.
Oh, what was I talking about now? I was talking about Sailor Moon, but I was talking about just animated stuff, like why I haven't watched, like, apparently if you use 2 X's, you get in the zone, auto zone. I guess it just means it's a really long turbo, I guess, or something. Ah, every time I turn around, or every time I do backwards, I mess up. But yeah, that's why I don't like. Oh, I was supposed to jump. Oh, well, there goes. Let me guess, I'm gonna finish in 10th now because I messed up there. But I was trying to explain why I don't watch animated stuff anymore. It's because now that it's commonplace for animated stuff in general, it's not a what's the word? A rare occurrence or something like that. Yeah, I didn't do very well. Yeah, that was bad, especially by the end there. Oh, no new commentary from Hicks. Oh, okay, there we go.
Let's talk about my old pal, Bobby Swift. He suffered another disappointing loss today, his second in a row. Sooner or later, though, his luck's bound to turn around. Anything to add, Miss Fritter?
Woo! That got crazy in a hurry. Folks bashing, smashing. Can't ask for more than that. Oh, let's watch again.
Well, we've reached the end of another amazing show. Speaking of amazing, I'm Chick Hicks. Good night, everybody.
Maybe I should start setting the game to easy mode so I can actually unlock like tracks and stuff. Oh no, I guess maybe I'm just doing it automatically. I want to keep playing on medium because medium is considered what would be considered what the game designers had originally in mind for difficulty and stuff like that. Heartland Fireside Run. Kind of reminds me of Ricky Bobby or.
This would be a good time
was
to
that the name of that
the numbers.
comedic show? No, that was Talladega Nights. What am I talking about? Help me, Tom Cruise! Put me out with your magic powers. That movie has a lot of annoying moments, but it has a lot of funny moments too. I'll admit. Now we can do a cup series. A collection of racing events that challenge. Okay, so you'd have to race multiple ones. With how poorly I've been doing, I doubt I'd do well in a cup. At least on this game, anyway. But anyway, I was talking about watching cartoons as a kid, but now that the cartoons are so common now, or just the idea of animation, I don't go see everything now because that wonder of trying to watch everything because it was a rare occurrence, or that you weren't going to see regularly. But now you can kind of see it quite often, although not well. There's a lot of really bad animated stuff, or that they do for kids that's so just bare bones for learning. It's kind of weird with how common animation is now, and with the rising popularity of Japanese animation, you'd think people would get away from the idea that animation is for kids. When if you look at the history of animation in general, it was actually designed for adults in mind.
Welcome everybody
I think it was around like maybe the 60s or 70s when. Oh, sorry.
And I don't know how long. Okay, I know I'm not alone when I say I've really been looking forward to this race. I mean, you just can't lose with a lineup like this. This
Yeah,
right
you've
here's the
repeated that
stunt
one
driver.
already.
Everybody's going to be watching.
Does that car have lips? I think it had lips. Oh, I forgot to rev. Oh, well, whatever. I think it was around like maybe the 60s or 70s where, or maybe it can't be the advent of Disney because most of the Disney early cartoons weren't super kiddie or anything like that. Oops. This race already looks like a reimagining of another race already. Did they really utilize the same maps multiple times just with different directions or something? Because it seems familiar, Huh. Or at least something about it just. Oh, the car can actually get dirty. You gotta give the game credit at least. I'll have to give this game credit. Well, I may have said that a couple times. It's not completely lazy, if that makes sense. A lot of games that do franchise stuff like this, they'll do the laziest stuff you can think of, to just make sure it's done. They won't try, or it's just. But you can tell that the game isn't super lazy about it. At least they try, in a few instances. Which I don't know what the point of me doing that was. But yeah, it was around I think it was around the 60s or 70s where all of a sudden cartoons, maybe with the advent of stuff like Scooby-Doo and stuff like that, maybe is when it came. I wouldn't take my word for all of this. I would just probably look it up whenever you get a chance. But yeah, it's just weird how a thing that was originally designed for adults in mind. If you look at those old Fleischer cartoons and stuff like that before Disney, then you can tell that they had adult tendencies in mind. Heck, some of the first cartoons had drawn devils and stuff like that in them. and dealing with like alcohol and other such things, you know, in the actual cartoon itself. So, but yeah, I'm still surprised we still haven't gotten around that stigma that people still think cartoons are just for children. I mean, you could look at Pixar, and you could adults and kids can enjoy those, you know.
I see ya.
You know, they've been doing that for years, you know. And then if you look at certain Japanese animated movies, like your Ghost in the Shells and Akira's, you know, people are aware of those, and those aren't kiddish, you know. Actually, very few Japanese well, I guess I should say, can't say all, because there's a lot. Because if you think about Japanese cartoons or anime, there's a lot of them. Like, you think, oh, well, I've seen all the anime I've seen has been pretty good. It's like, well, it's because, well, at least relative, it's because most of the stuff that gets ported over to America is supposed to be the good stuff. They don't bring everything over there. They make a lot of animated stuff over there. Like, and there's a lot of bad cartoon, or there's a lot of bad ones too, or ones that are just either boring or not for certain audiences. So, I mean, they probably try harder than we do over here, but still, they make a lot of stuff, so not all of them are gumdrops and lollipops, you know what I mean? Oops. Every time I feel like I'm doing well, I make like one mistake, and then I mess up, you know? God. Just gotta drift into those, and then I messed up. But anyway, yeah, so that's why I don't watch every single anime thing that comes out now, because it's so common that I could just kind of pick and choose. Although I could say the same thing with a lot of things, whether it be TV or movies, or even actually, weirdly enough, I thought as a kid I always thought I would never. I would always play every single game, or I would never get tired of games or whatever. And I'm still not tired of games, so I definitely don't. Man, it seems like even on media mode, everyone knows all the like shortcuts. You know, you would think with knowing all the shortcuts, they would clearly be way ahead of me. There must be like, I guess on media mode, there might be like a sort of like a blocking mechanic or something like that, where the game never gets so far ahead that you can't like catch up. If that makes sense. At least that's what it feels like to me, anyway. Like they design it to where you're not completely hosed if you don't get a certain turn, which is, I guess it's I forgot what principle that's called, where it tries to even out the, like even it out so like one character won't have a chance to like make up the difference, you know. Like they purposely slow down the vehicles or something like that to try and make up for it.
Look at you go.
I am doing terribly. I wonder if we're close to the final lap spot.
You know you
I might
can't
try to.
win, right?
Aw, man, look at all these people that just skip by. I thought I was gonna like, oh, I'm gonna hit all the. I'm gonna hit all my boosts, and we're gonna get a decent hitting, but nope.
Tonight I have just got to talk about Mac. He gave it all he had today, but in the end he just fell short. Certainly not the result he was hoping for. What did you think, Miss Fritter?
Oh, that was scary. It just ain't safe out there when it gets like that. Woo-hoo! I loved it. Every race should be just like it.
Well, that does it for us. This is the former and forever Piston Cup champion, Chick Hicks, signing off.
Oh yeah, technically he did win, at least in the first movie, because even though everyone booed him after he won. So, all right, well, Thunder Hollow Backcountry, Thunder Cuckoo Falconbird. Just one word, my friend. Thunder Cuckoo Falconbird. Let's see, go back to the main menu. But but yeah, like with video games and everything, now that everything's come so common, it's like that hobby that you thought was yours alone, and then now that's so common that everyone does it, you're just like, now it's not just directed at me or like a handful of people I know. It's like everyone can enjoy it, which is great, but then you kind of lose like its uniqueness to you as a person, because you isn't just you and a handful of people you can talk about on the internet. Although it's not like I ever like found people to talk about this stuff. It's more like stuff I kept to myself. I mean, I might read about what people talked about it or something like that, but I've never actively engaged with it. I'm not one of those types of people that like engage, even in a hobby I like. I don't.
Folks, we are coming to you live to make sure you don't miss a second of tonight's bigger than big event. Hey, if you're looking for speed, you came to the right place, because that's exactly what you can expect to see in a race like this one.
Hold the optimum line, and it's yours.
Maybe I should try playing as other characters other than Lightning, but whatever. Okay, let's see if this one's any different from the others. But I don't know. I want people to enjoy like gaming, movies, and all this other stuff too. So it's not like I don't want that. That'd be kind of not arrogant. That would be just being a jerk about it or something. I don't know what the right word. You know, for being a guy who is going to school to be an English major, I'm finding it harder and harder to like recall certain terms I want to use. You know, that's what happens when you get older. Sometimes your brain just stops working if you don't actively use it. Am I calling myself dumb? Maybe I am.
Oh, you're serious? I'm sorry.
Turn around here. Yeah, I'm just not doing very good at this. And it's not like the game's designed terribly or anything like that. I'm just doing bad. Although I wonder if they use the similar. Oh wow, this is a short track. I wonder if I actually did well like a Mario Kart, would the AI still catch up with me pretty quickly to make sure I'm not like, would they speed up characters just to kind of keep track with me to make sure I don't completely like just dominate the track. You know what? With the fact that I don't completely get just like overlapped every time I do this, even though the fact I've been driving so poorly, I would almost think that might be the case. You know, ah man, you knocked me out, dude. I did a little bit better there, at least.
Good effort. You just keep trying your best.
Okay. I'm trying my best, man. And you guys took all the whoa! Now you just need that scene from the first one where he sticks his tongue out for some reason, and then bugs go over it, and he's like, ew. Ew! Oh, anyway. Oh, I guess you do have to drift to get the turbo from that. That's why I was just drifting just to try and, like, even myself out, you know, but it seems like drifting is required. So I guess a lot of the boosts do require you to, actively do a specific task, you know, like turning backwards. I keep saying I'll give the game credit. I've said that multiple times. You know, at least making certain mechanics. Come on! Yay! We just got second. But at least they have different mechanics for each one, so it kind of try to keep your player on its toes, or at least paying attention.
I say we celebrate Lightning McQueen, not for winning, because he didn't, but for not finishing in dead last. Way to go, Lightning. Anything to add, Miss Fritter?
Well, I'd say for those of us who love the sweet sound of crunching metal, today's race was awesome! I can't believe anybody even limped away from that one.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we've got. I'm legendary racing sensation Chick Hicks. Good night.
Why does the game keep choosing Miss Fritter as the secondary announcer for some reason? Okay, Arizona Sundown Run. I think we have enough time to do another race. Why not? Go. Maybe one day I'll actually get back to my talking about Cars 2 conversation. I just keep getting on I don't know why it is with this game specifically. I'm getting on such I think it's because usually when I play a game, I'm usually talking about the game itself, and I sometimes iterate with like with personal stories or adages. But in this case, I'm talking more about personal adages than I am the game itself. Because I mean, how much more can I add to the game than drive, hit this shift, whatever? I mean, I guess I could talk about the mechanics, certain details, maybe about the history of the company that made this or something. But
and now everybody's gearing up for what's sure to be one of the most entertaining events of the season. Okay, I know I'm not alone when I say I've really been looking forward to this race. I mean, you just can't lose with a lineup like this.
Yeah, you
I
can.
might just take a drive. You'll see what
There's not much more to it. And I don't think I can blame the people who made this game either. I think they only had so much to work with, you know, time, a franchise, you know, a game like this, you know, you can only do so many things with it. I kind of, and you have to make money, like, you know, at some point. So you have to do certain projects that maybe you want to do, but you can't because you don't have the funding, or you need that big budget company to give you that project to go, hey, can you do this for us? And you're like, all right, if we get money from this, we can make that one game we've always wanted to make or whatever. Although there are game companies that strictly work on projects like these to keep going. Although I've never worked for a game company, so I don't know all the details. Yeah, at least I did better there. But anyway, I should finish my Cars 2 thing because we're gonna. I'm not sure if I want to continue playing after this or not. Basically, overall thoughts: Cars 2 was fine. I wish they didn't choose Tow Mater as the main character. I mean, was Tow Mater really that popular with the kids that they needed to that they decided to make him the main character? I guess so. I mean, usually with kids, the comedic relief or whatever is usually relegated to popularity status as apart from the main character. And even in some movies, sometimes the main, or not movies, sometimes in some franchise or kids are concerned, a lot of times sometimes kids won't even like the main character as much, although that's not very good design or character design or work or whatever if the main character does not get the same love as a lot of other characters. Because you know, he's the main protagonist, so you're wanting to root or join in on or join in their struggle or whatever the case may be.
Interesting strategy.
Which there are a few titles like that, I'll admit, that I didn't. Man, come on, man. Don't mess with me on this one. This episode might run a little longer because usually my 22-minute run, I'm usually have finished the race by this point, but it looks like this race is a bit longer than I expected. But yeah, I don't know why they made. I mean, I never would have thought it would be a good idea to make a whole movie based off the side character. Well, okay, you can make movies based off side characters. And I think you can make a movie based off the comic relief, but the comic relief has to be a pretty in-depth character by that point. Like, maybe that's established somewhere in the main original movie. And, I mean, I guess there's a scene with it with Tow Mater's, like, it's like, oh, Lightning, you see me as a idiot or whatever, that type of thing. I mean, there is kind of a scene like that, but I don't think it was that deep or complicated enough to warrant a movie based off of him. And even then, the movie really doesn't talk about him that much. It's more like, well, okay, nuts. Wasn't paying attention. I mean, there is a scene in the second movie where he talks about how they find out that who he is and they kind of call him an idiot. So you technically get that same story twice. First movie and the second movie. But right here, it's just press up when you do that. Okay, so wow, at least the game fixes it if I don't get that jump properly, at least.
Interesting strategy. Now don't give up.
You're not making me feel good, game. But yeah, don't make movies based off of comedic side characters unless you really have something compelling to tell, or a super comedic adventure. Because I don't even think like Cars 2 was like really super funny, you know, which it wasn't supposed to be. It's supposed to be an action. Maybe like an action comedy, maybe the best word I would describe it. But yeah, oh, what's the word I'm trying to think of now? How close we are to the end? I think we're almost at the end, aren't we?
Is that really all you got?
I'm trying to see if I can get a win, which I might lose because I didn't charge enough. Oh, right, we actually got a first place finally after all this time. Man.
Here, and welcome back
Oh,
to
I didn't mean to skip through
In case
everything.
you missed it, Lightning McQueen found a way to win today, despite coming back from a long losing streak. Inspiring stuff for losers everywhere. Okay, Natalie, how about a statistical analysis?
It was another race that went by the numbers. There
was some back and forth for a moment, but the outcome was really never a question.
Well, that's it for now. I'm your host, champion for the ages, Chick Hicks. Good night.
So we actually won with lightning this time. Yeah, let's see, yellow car, so now we could add yellow effects. And we can do another race. I've got all these tirades. I haven't really talking much about Cars or Pixar at this moment. Yeah, I think I'll do another episode of these because I know you all are just clamoring for some Cars 3 action. So in the next episode of Cars 3 Drive to Win, I'll talk more about random stuff in my life. Maybe actually finish that Pixar 2 dialogue or conversation that I have stuck in the middle of my brain. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.